welcome to Art Confidential. Today we're going to look at 10 amazing art pieces from Paris, the Louvre. Here we have Theodore Garcon in the 19th century, 1818. This is the Raft of the Medusa. It's not always recommended for those of sensitive disposition because it's so realistic. It depicts the survivors and the casualties of the Medusa shipwreck, calling for help when they see in the distance the outline of another ship that could save them. The Raft of the Medusa is generally regarded as an icon of Romanticism. It depicts an event in which human and political aspects greatly interested Gericault. The wreck of the French Navy frigate Medusa off the coast of Senegal in 1816, with over 150 soldiers on board, was a huge work that was created 13.75 by 23.5 foot tall. It depicts the dreadful conditions of these 150 people who faced the 1816 French Royal Navy frigate, but after battling starvation for 13 days, they eventually succumbed to death, descended into cannibalism and murder. Just 15 people survived to tell the tales of this event. Here we have the Mona Lisa. Well known. Why? Because it was stolen. This is the most visited, most written about painting ever, and it has been parodied in many, many other artworks around the world. The painting's novelties include an enigmatic expression, monumentally its composition, the subtle modeling of forms, and the atmospheric illusionism. The Mona Lisa became famous, as I mentioned, when it was stolen. The painting has been definitively identified to depict Italian noblewoman Lisa del Giocondo. It is this painting in oil on white canvas which Leonardo depicted in this panel. Leonardo never gave the painting to Giocondo's family. It's believed he later left it in his will to his favorite, the paintress Salai. The Mona Lisa is one of the most valuable paintings in the world. It holds the Guinness World Book of Record with the highest known painting insurance valuation in history at $100 million US. This was in 1962 equivalent to $1 billion as of 2023. Marvel at one of Eugene Delacroix's works, Liberty Leading the People, a revolutionary painting that commemorates the July Revolution that led to the descent of King Charles X. Appreciate the artistic expression of freedom through this iconic painting, as it marks the beginning of democracy, depicted by a woman holding the flag of France and wearing a red Phrygian cap, a symbol of liberty. This masterpiece tops the list of the most famous paintings of the Romanticism movement. Moreover, it is one of the most largest size paintings by a French artist that is still at the Louvre. Here we have the size that you can see in proportion to the people viewing this masterpiece. The Wedding Feast at Cana, Noce de Cana 1562, by Paolo Veronese, is a representational painting that depicts the biblical story of the marriage at Cana, at which Jesus miraculously converts water into red wine. The size of the painting, again, is huge. Here you can see the size of the painting next to the people in front of it. The Coronation of Napoleon. Up close, you will see that he is crowning his wife. Napoleon, 1769 to 1821. He is standing, dressed in coronation robes, similar to those of Roman emperors. Others are merely passive spectators. In the actual painting, it is possible to see the outline of what was originally painted, Napoleon holding the crown above his own head, as if placing it on himself. Josephine de Beauharnais, 1763 to 1814, is kneeling in a submissive position, as called for in the French Civil Code. She received the crown from the hands of her husband, not the Pope. The coronation of Napoleon, completed in 1807 by Jacques Louis David, the official painter of Napoleon, depicting the coronation of Napoleon at Notre Dame de Paris. The oil painting has imposing dimensions. It's almost 10 meters by 20 feet tall. Yes, it is huge. Here we have the Virgin, Saint Anne, and the child playing with the lamb. It's considered a technical masterpiece for Da Vinci, especially at the time of completion. Pilgrims flocked to see it upon completion, as have been coming ever since, because of its complexities. Take a moment to enter the mind of an observer in the 16th century, as life was so very different. Art was the only opportunity to personify figures like Saint Anne and the Virgin Mary to gain a mental picture. The Virgin and Child with Saint Anne was commissioned by King Louis the 11th of France, but never was delivered. It is believed that this Leonardo da Vinci masterpiece is still unfinished. The oil painting on wood is 51 inches tall. It is one of the most confusing paintings of Leonardo da Vinci's because of its theme and possible hidden messages. This picture portrays Saint Anne, the Virgin Mary, her daughter, and Jesus, painted in 1503. Nicolas Poussin, 1637 to 38, oil on canvas. The rape of the Sabine woman is possibly the most famous story in Roman history, other than the murder of Julius Caesar. Poussin's version of it is a testament to the artist's love for Rome and one of the most famous versions of the scene ever painted. The Romans had a shortage of women, and none of the nearby tribes would assimilate out of fear of the Romans growing too strong. Romulus, the first king of Rome, decided to throw a party, and so he invited nearby tribes to attend by the Sabine people. On Romulus's signal, he is painted with the red cape and gold armor. The Romans abducted the Sabine women to take them for their wives. The woman would give birth to the second generation of Roman sons, who would perpetuate the longest lasting and arguably the greatest empire in European history. The significance of the story is that the empire began with pain and wrongdoing as a means to an end. This harsh mentality would become intertwined with Roman pragmatism throughout the empire's growth. Poussin captures this all beautifully in Italian Renaissance fashion. Johannes Vermeer, the Lacemaker, oil on canvas, size 9 by 6 inches, 8 by 3 inches. This famous 16th century painting by Johannes Vermeer, the Lacemaker, inspired a successful novel and a film, with Isabelle Huppert in the leading role. This painting depicts a young girl focused on her work. It is a beautiful representation of the occupation of and work at that time. Like photography, the background is blurred. This is a masterpiece by the painter of light, Vermeer. The official painter of Napoleon painted this painting between 1594 and 1595, a portrait of assumed to be Julienne and Gabrielle d'Estes. The former pinching her sister's nipples draws your attention to what is not erotic in nature, but rather the announcement of the pregnancy of Gabrielle d'Estes. Her sister's gesture would include her future status as a mother. Here we have one of the oldest pieces at the Louvre, called Saint Francis receiving the Stigmata. It is a panel painting in tempera by the Italian artist Giotto, painted around 1295. for the Church of St. Francis in Pisa, and it is now in the museum at the Louvre. It shows an episode from the life of St. Francis of Assisi, and it is 314 centimeters high by 162 centimeters wide. It is signed Opus Giotto Florentini, work of Florentine Giotto. You can see more about paintings by these different artists in another series. See my upcoming video and details of the astounding artworks in the art collection by the famous Ringling Circus in the USA. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Comments are always appreciated. Thank you.